Hello, good morning, URL agent partners and any guests that we have on the webinar today. I am Christy Wilbert, your Senior Vice President of the Medicare Offerings Department here at URL. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited about our Medicare versus HOP and the federal employee health benefits conversation that we're going to be having. I do feel like this might be a little controversial today, our webinar, because it is up into interpretation. I'm going to share with you my thoughts and insights as an agent, putting my agent hat on. And there's going to be people that are going to agree and disagree today. So my goal really is to just show you a different perspective that might not be the same as yours and educate you on those benefits and how they go with Medicare. And hopefully you take away some valuable information. Let me walk you around your screen really quick if it's your first time joining us on a webinar. There should be a blue chat box on the bottom right of your screen. Go ahead and click that to open up the group chat. Feel free to chat amongst one another and with me in there. There is a specific tab along the top that is for questions and answers. Please put your questions in there and I'll address them at the end. Since it is just me today, I'm going to keep going until we're finished, and then I'll, like I said, address those at the end. There's a tab for handouts up there as well. We do have a ton of handouts today, so make sure that you check that out, and I will reference them throughout today. We found everything online for HOP. So all the plan coverages and summary of benefits are there for your disposal, and then also an ancillary benefit flyer. So that's something good for you to have and keep in case you ever come against a client that has HOP and you understand the benefits and what they're getting for that. So my role here at URL, obviously I speak with many of you as independent agents and hear how you handle prospects that have, federal benefits or HOP. And I'm very used to hearing from many of you that you say to your client, which I appreciate, your honesty, is stay where you are. Those are great benefits, which is true. They are great benefits that you'll see today. But I feel like we're very auto-programmed to say that as our response, and situations may have changed over the years where that might not actually be true anymore. When I first started here 10 years ago, a Highmark Medicare Advantage plan cost $179. So back then, sure, go ahead, take the HOP. Medicare Advantage is super expensive. But now how far the plans have come for a $0 premium and how enriched the benefits are, you really need to take a chance and look, and compare apples to apples and see what's best for the client. Because, I know that's what we're all trying to do at the end of the day, is just do what's best for them. So recently I was actually on a Medicare Learning Network webinar, and they were going over the federal employee health benefits, and that's what gave me the idea to do this webinar today. So if you don't subscribe to their emails and webinars, I strongly suggest you do that. We put it in our monthly newsletter here at URL, so you do have access to that regularly, but I use them all the time for education, and I think it's a great resource for all of you to have. They do record them so that you can watch them at your convenience later. Just like ours, today will be recorded, and you can always find our recorded webinars on our website under the webinar archives. We do a lot of great ones, so I recommend you go in and check those out. Not just for Medicare, but all the departments here at URL. So I think a good place for us to start today is how Medicare works with group benefits, because there is definitely what's supposed to happen and what actually happens. And I think that's why there's a lot of controversy around this in particular. So I'm going to go ahead and send you my first slide. So this is primary and secondary, right? So if you're a small group under 20, Medicare is supposed to be primary. What that means is that the person can stay on their group plan after they turn 65, but they're supposed to pick up A and B. So they're going to be paying that premium for B. So why not just go on to Medicare, right? If it's a small group, unless they're getting their health benefits for free, it usually benefits them to just go on to Medicare if they got to pay for B anyway. If it's over 20 people, then Medicare is secondary. So there's no reason to pick up A and B. They can just stay on their group plan after they turn 65 and they continue to work. So where we get mixed answers from this, and a lot of people hear wrong information, is that they don't have to worry about this size because how the group benefits bill the insurance company. And you're absolutely right. You do run into situations most of the time. I want to say like 99% of the time where they're just billing the group health benefit and they're not checking if the person has B and if they have that gap in coverage, if they're under 20 employees where they're supposed to have B, and everything goes how it's supposed to go. And then they come off the group plan, they get the special election into the Part B, and they're never penalized, where they were supposed to be penalized because they were supposed to have B that whole time. So our job is to educate you on what's supposed to happen or what could potentially happen if it's billed properly. I don't know if many of you remember this, but UPMC sent out a mass educational email about that they were going to start billing correctly. And if you were supposed to have Part B because you were that under 20, you were going to start seeing invoices come directly to you because you have a gap in coverage. We haven't seen that happen yet. But again, it's just important to understand how it's supposed to work, educate your client on how it's supposed to work and what they should be enrolled in. Is that what happens? Like I said, no, we have not seen it, and I'm sure you feel the same way. Okay, so Part B, as we're sticking on that topic, can get a little tricky with the federal benefits. So retiree plans almost always pay secondary to Medicare, meaning that you have to enroll in A and B to get your retiree plan. Unlike other retiree insurance, the federal will pay primary, so you don't need to enroll into B. So you've probably come up against a client that they're enrolled in their federal health benefits and they don't have B. And you coming off of the federal benefits, the retiree plan does not give you a special election period to get B. So a person has to wait for the general enrollment period to enroll into B and go into Medicare. So they could be stuck on the federal benefits, for months on end until that general enrollment period comes around. Why is that? It's because they're not actively working. You only get that SEP into B when you're leaving a group plan if you're actively working. Or you're doing COBRA for the 8 months. You have that time period. So we've run into situations where somebody has to wait and they can't go onto Medicare, which can be really frustrating for the client. So it's good to know that ahead of time. If you come across a client that is deciding to go onto retiree coverage, make sure they understand that they have to stay on that for the long term, or they should enroll into B anyway, even though they don't need it because of what could happen later if they decide to go onto Medicare. And I think I got just a little bit ahead of myself. So if you have the federal benefits retiree insurance and become Medicare eligible, you either decide you want to keep your federal benefits and enroll into original Medicare A and B, which is what I would recommend if the person does want to stay on their benefits, or you disenroll from the federal coverage and enroll into just Medicare alone, which is where you could help them as the agent. Because then they don't have to worry about any fees or penalties later or timing not lining up. But if they can turn down B if they just want to stay on their federal benefits. Okay, so let's go over the HOP options a little bit. And like I said, I did put that in your handout so you can look at the full summary of benefits. I'm just briefly going over them here for you because I feel like I don't need to read the benefits. All of you know how to do that on your own. But we're really going to focus on cost and then what individuals, in my experience, primarily focus on with their coverage. So as you can see, they have 2 MedSup options, and these are hybrid plans. They've been around for a very long time. They're not a typical MedSup or Medicare Advantage plan. They're kind of a mixture of both. It's a grandfathered plan. They do increase premium every single year. My mom is on HOP. I watch it increase just like a regular MedSup would increase. So your top one there, that MedSup, this is excluding the premium assistance, which if you didn't know is $100 that the employee, retired person gets only. Their spouse does not. So this goes to the worker only. So the richest plan that they option, the MedSup option, is $194 premium a month. So if you add in that $100 that they're going to get back, let's just say it's a $94 a month plan. They have no deductible, no hospitalization, but they do have that copay when they see their PCP and specialist. That's why I say it's a hybrid of a MedSup. To wrap your brain around it, I thought, it's kind of like a Plan F or a Plan G, right? If you want to say Plan G, it's kind of like they're slowly paying back their Part B deductible every time they go see the doctor. So that's how it looks to me. And then the Value Medical Plan, this is a MedSup option as well. Again, it looks very hybrid because it's $102. That's the premium monthly. If you add that $100 credit that they're getting back as the employee, it's a $2 a month premium, which sounds fantastic, right? They do have, as you can see here, though, copays and deductibles, which is strange. And that's why, again, we say hybrid. So they have a Part A per admission deductible of $300. So that could be hit multiple times in a year, not just once. And then they have a Part B annual deductible of $240. So they're passing that Part B deductible on. They still have a $20 copay to see their PCP, and they have a MOOP, believe it or not, of $5,000. So this really looks like a Medicare Advantage plan to me, right? Because they're having out-of-pocket costs and they have a MOOP. So for $2 a month, they're having all the copays and restrictions of a Medicare Advantage plan. Why not just go onto a Medicare Advantage plan because of how enriched the benefits and all the additional benefits that you get, like dental, vision, hearing, and a gym membership and all of those great things? This doesn't have any of that. Now, what you're getting as a benefit, because it's acting as a MedSup, is network, right? They can go anywhere that Medicare is accepted because it's being called a Medicare supplement, even though it doesn't really look like one. Okay, and with a MedSup, you have to buy a Part D plan. So here are their Part D plans. We have the Advanced, which is $126. Holy cow, that is expensive. We have the Basic Medicare, which is $67 a month, still super expensive, and that has a $100 deductible. And then your Value Medicare, that has a regular deductible just like the plans you sell, but it's still $25 a month. That's very expensive. So even if somebody decides, hey, I'm going to pay that $2 because I want the network of a MedSup, I'm okay with those co-payments. But you can definitely sell me a prescription drug plan because these prices are outlandish. I mean, granted, we don't know what's going to come for 2025 and all the changes that are coming our way. But as of right now, these are very costly plans. Okay, so here's an idea of what the Medicare Advantage plans look like with HOP. And again, I have the full summary of benefits in there in the handout section for you, so you can dive into the coverage very thoroughly and check them out to have them to compare apples to apples during an appointment with one of these prospects. But again, very expensive, very expensive. Look down there. I mean, those are outlandish prices. Even if you take the $100 off, it's still a very expensive plan. Now, the benefits are great. Again, they are great, but at what cost? A guaranteed cost every month, not a maybe with a copayment, right? So I try to do a little side-by-side just to show you what I'm talking about. And I use the traditional Highmark PPO plan that I'm sure you all have seen. Now, obviously, this is in Pennsylvania. HOP is a Pennsylvania plan anyway. So $241 is the HOP plan. That's before the $100 credit. So it's $141 that the employee would pay, the retired employee, compared to the plan that you can sell them at $27. So much cheaper on a monthly, which is a guaranteed coming out of your pocket cost, and then zero deductible across the board. Doctor copay, $5 with HOP. It's 0 on the plan you can sell. 15 specialists, both. Urgent care is 25 with HOP. Urgent care is 30 over here, or 100 with the ER, 40 with the ER. So where it gets pretty cool on the HOP plan is they have a $0 hospitalization. And we do have a copay on the Medicare Advantage plans. All the plans across the board have copays for that. But what are the chances? That's where you have to do a risk analysis with your client. To save $120 a month, which is a guaranteed price again, is that worth it to you for the 0 copay or the $200 copay? That's a potential risk. And both plans have dental, vision, hearing, and cover the prescription drugs. So that's a very, high look at both the plans side by side. Again, you can drill into it, but I just think what we can offer at a lower cost is very comparable, if not better in most situations with a Medicare Advantage plan. Because even when you're looking at the supplement for them, it's a hybrid plan, and this is going to save them some money if they're able to take that risk with their health. Dental and vision. So they give a PSEA Care product, which again, I put the flyer in the handouts for you. It is a United Concordia Advantage Plus network. It's $44 a month, preventative at 100%, and it goes through that with you. Max benefit, $22.50. There's vision in there as well. So comparing that to something you can sell with URL, it's a Emeritus plan. Emeritus Classic PPO Network, which is very big. The benefits start day one. There's no waiting period, and they do increase after 1 year. A little bit lower of a monthly premium at $38, 100% preventative, 90% basic. And the max benefit there is $3,000. So you're getting a little bit more benefit in there for you. Hearing is included, and then the vision is included as well. So not saying one is better than the other per se, just that you have something comparable to offer as an agent is what I'm trying to show you here. Okay, so just quickly, some sales techniques. The $100, again, premium assistance goes only to the employee that's retiring, not the spouse. So even if you sit with the spouse or the person that's working for HOP or the federal employee, and you go over all of these things in detail and show your understanding, if they still decide to stay with their retiree benefits, even you might have, if they pick the MedSup, you might have the drug plan that you can purchase with them. The spouse is a great prospect because they're not getting that $100. They're paying everything at full cost, which is super expensive compared to something that you can offer them on all accounts across the board. If you don't get that $100 premium assistance, there's really no point in going on those plans. Sharing more comparison and knowledge. Like I just said, if you are, talking like you know what you're talking about, comparing apples to apples, doing a risk assessment with them, asking them about their comfort level and guaranteed, premium, what you're going to be paying in a year and the possibility of, I think people really appreciate that, and that they'll have you as a point of contact instead of calling into like the HOP call center to get answers that they might not be able to get answered. Or from their HR department that they don't specialize in that information. You really show your value and your worth as the agent. I just want to quickly talk about our Medicare Connections Conference for this year. You can register now. It's out on our website. It is Thursday, August 22nd. We do have a fantastic keynote speaker coming to talk about marketing in the demographics today. Steve Clemens actually went out to a conference in Vegas and saw her speak, and she is phenomenal. So he recommended that we have her coming. So I'm so excited to have her and all of you join us for the conference this year. I know there's going to be a ton of changes that we'll be addressing more and more as time comes. On the CMS final rule, we are supposed to be hearing some more things from the carrier. They're like 2 weeks behind on releasing that. So as soon as we hear anything more, Karen and I will be out here with a webinar to make sure we're keeping you educated as fast as possible on what's changing in our industry. But as of right now, it's business as usual, and we appreciate you choosing URL to work with. and I hope you found some value today in our webinar. I am going to answer some of these questions here. So let's start at the top. So Larry, it was geared towards both, as you could see now. Do they have a penalty? We had this with a Fed postal worker from another state. I don't feel like that's a full thought, Ruth Ann. Have a penalty for what? For the Part B, they're supposed to. If any, yes, they're supposed to. Oh, Lindsay, thank you for answering that. Social Security worker at an annual meeting last year said 20 over and under does not even affect penalty for Part B, just how claims exposure for the person might occur. That's not true, Ruth Ann. I'm sorry that you got wrong information. If they're supposed to have Part B and don't, that's exactly what the penalty is for. That's how it reads. If one disenrolls, which select situations allow them to re-enroll again versus the ones that prevent them from re-enrolling again? Allow them to re-enroll. I'm sorry, Ricky, I don't think I understand the question. Maybe give me a call today. Have you seen in HOP anything about a $1 million lifetime maximum benefit? I've seen this. So, Larry, I've seen that in the past. That's how group health insurance policies worked. You did have $1 million max. That's not the case anymore. That's many years ago. The MedSup has $1 million. Okay, we'll have to relook at that. Watch for the clients with chemo. Yes, of course. With MedSup and Medicare Advantage, that's your biggest risk to hit the MOOP is when people have durable medical equipment or they go through chemotherapy. That is always a cost. Are these prices for someone just retiring? Do these prices also apply to those who have been on the program for years? So these are the prices for 2024. They change every year. So it doesn't matter if you've been on the program for years or not, you're still going to be subject to the new prices for the new year. Yep, and Ruth Ann said that. Can you please go over the Part B penalty again? So it's a percentage every month that you're supposed to be on Part B and aren't. Or I'm sorry, Part B is annual. It's the D that's monthly. It's 10%, by the way. The only $1 million is covered for medical. Oh, you guys are just having a conversation. Okay. If we don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar for today. And remember, this was recorded and will be in our webinar archive. And if you have any outstanding questions you would like to ask me, feel free to give me a call. I'll be here today. Thank you so much for joining.